Tariffs, once a dull economics term buried in textbooks and policy debates, are now the hottest topic in global commerce, dominating headlines and boardroom conversations alike. In July 2025, President Trump's administration announced sweeping new tariffs, marking a dramatic escalation in protectionist policy and sending shockwaves through international markets. These tariffs, set to take effect August 1st, are not just minor tweaks, they represent a seismic shift, targeting America's biggest trading partners and fundamentally altering the rules of engagement. The idea is simple on paper: make foreign goods more expensive so American companies can thrive, boosting domestic production and jobs. But the reality is far more complex. Our global supply chains are far too tangled for simple solutions, with products crossing borders multiple times before reaching store shelves. America First is the philosophy, aiming to reverse decades of what are seen as unfair trade deals and revive domestic manufacturing, restoring pride and prosperity to American industry. The administration is betting that short-term pain, higher prices, supply disruptions, and uncertainty will pay off in the long run, leading to a stronger, more self-reliant economy. But the global economy isn't a one-way street. Every country is connected and every action has a reaction. A car built in Detroit might have parts from Germany, Vietnam, and Canada, each piece a product of international cooperation and trade. Tariffs on any single component ripple through the entire process, landing as higher prices for American consumers and businesses alike. For decades, global trade kept prices low and store shelves full, making a world of products accessible to everyday shoppers. Now the rules have changed overnight, and everyone, from multinational corporations to small businesses on Main Street, is scrambling to adapt, facing uncertainty at every turn. The stakes? They go far beyond boardroom profits. They touch the cost of your weekly shop, the fate of local jobs, and the stability of the global economy itself. The music of global trade has paused, and now, as the world scrambles for a seat, the outcome will shape our economic future for years to come. Who's in the crosshairs? Nearly everyone. From families picking up groceries to businesses sourcing parts, no one is untouched by the sweeping changes now underway. Canada faces a 35% tariff on most goods, a huge blow to America's closest trading partner. For decades, the US and Canada have shared one of the world's most seamless borders, with goods and services flowing freely. Now, that relationship is under strain, and the impact will ripple through everything from grocery aisles to auto plants. Mexico and the entire European Union are hit with 30% tariffs, sending shockwaves through industries from French wine to German cars. These tariffs don't just affect luxury items, they touch everyday products from cheese and chocolate to electronics and machinery. Brazil, a staggering 50% tariff on all imports. Bad news for your morning coffee and orange juice. The cost of simple pleasures is about to skyrocket, and breakfast tables across America will feel the pinch. Vietnam, a manufacturing hub, faces a 20% tariff, doubling to 40% if goods are suspected of being rerouted from China. This means everything from clothing to electronics could see price hikes as companies scramble to adapt. And a blanket 50% tariff on all copper imports will impact everything from homes to data centers. Copper is the backbone of modern infrastructure. Expect higher costs for wiring, plumbing, and even renewable energy projects. These aren't minor adjustments. They're a fundamental rewrite of America's trade relationships. The rules of the game are being rewritten overnight, leaving businesses and governments scrambling to respond. For context, US-Germany trade alone was worth over 250 billion euros last year. A 30% tariff is like tossing a grenade into that engine. The ripple effects will be felt by workers, investors, and consumers on both sides of the Atlantic. The scale is unprecedented, and the consequences are just beginning to unfold. As shelves empty and prices rise, the reality of these new walls becomes impossible to ignore. This is economic carpet bombing, not a surgical strike. Entire industries are bracing for impact, and the aftershocks will be felt for years to come. The world's supply chains are being redrawn, and the fallout will be felt everywhere. Companies are already rerouting shipments, rethinking suppliers, and facing delays that could last months. The numbers on paper are now real costs at the checkout. For millions of Americans, the new world of tariffs isn't just a headline. It's a reality that hits home every time they shop. When Walmart warns, the retail world listens. Earlier this year, Walmart's CFO bluntly said, "Tariffs are inflationary," meaning prices are going up for everyone. If Walmart with its massive buying power can't absorb these costs, smaller retailers stand no chance. Small shops can't negotiate or shift suppliers as easily, they're forced to pass costs to customers or risk going under. Walmart tried to adapt by shifting sourcing, but the unpredictability made planning impossible, even for them. The result? Chaos. Retailers can't predict costs, manage inventory, or set prices. Imagine ordering thousands of products only to have tariffs wipe out your profit margin overnight. Retail planning has become a desperate game of chance. The chaos Walmart predicted is now reality. The promise of stable, affordable goods is breaking down as tariffs disrupt supply chains built over decades. Companies scramble for new suppliers, but switching isn't quick or easy. For consumers, this means empty shelves and higher prices. Even simple products like ketchup are affected. Rising input costs force manufacturers to choose between losses or price hikes. Big brands with global supply chains like Levi's can dodge some tariffs, but smaller companies can't. The word tariffs now haunts corporate America, mentioned in nearly 200 S&P 500 earnings calls this year. Retailers are forced into survival mode, abandoning growth for damage control. The result, a more expensive, fragile retail market for everyone. What does this mean for the average American? Your morning coffee? Brazil's 50% tariff means prices are spiking. Orange juice? Also up. Brazil supplies 80% of global exports. Beef for your summer barbecue? More expensive thanks to new taxes on Brazilian imports. The 30% tariff on EU goods hits cars and auto parts, raising costs for everyone, even those buying American-assembled vehicles. Clothes and electronics from Vietnam, like Nike shoes and Samsung phones, now face 20–40% tariffs. The impact is everywhere, from copper wiring in your home to the shirt on your back. These tariffs are a direct hit to the cost of living. The price increases are immediate and unavoidable. For many families, the squeeze is real, and it's only getting tighter. The fingerprints of tariffs are on every receipt. North of the border, a different story is unfolding. US tariffs are making American and imported goods pricier, so Canadians are shopping local. Canadian-made products suddenly look like bargains, not just for patriotic reasons, but pure economics. Retailers sourcing domestically or from non-US partners can offer better value. Canada's trade environment is stable, with agreements like USMCA providing predictability. International suppliers priced out of the US are turning to Canada, boosting product variety. The result? A retail boom, stronger manufacturers, and more jobs. While the 35% US tariff hurts Canadian exporters, the domestic market is thriving. Chains like Canadian Tire and Loblaws, plus small boutiques, are capturing more of Canadian spending. The chaos in the US is fueling a Canadian retail renaissance. Picture two shoppers, Susan in Buffalo, New York, a working mom juggling her family's needs and a tight budget, and David in Niagara Falls, Ontario, a teacher who shops for his family every weekend. Susan's Walmart trip is defined by sticker shock, prices seem to climb every week, and her paycheck doesn't stretch as far as it used to. Coffee, juice, shoes. Everyday essentials now feel like luxuries. Even her car maintenance, all more expensive. Her choices are shrinking, her frustration growing. She's forced to cut back, swapping brands or skipping items altogether. David, meanwhile, shops at Loblaws where the aisles are well stocked and prices feel more predictable. His coffee, sourced from Colombia, is stable in price, and he doesn't worry about sudden spikes. Canadian milk and cheese are now better deals than US imports, thanks to local protections. Even French wine is cheaper, untouched by US tariffs, making special occasions more affordable. David enjoys stability and more local options. He can support Canadian farmers and businesses, and his grocery bill is easier to predict. The difference? In the US, tariffs are a direct tax on consumers, quietly raising prices on everything from food to clothing. These costs hit lower and middle-income families hardest, forcing tough choices at the checkout. In Canada, tariffs are creating a protective bubble, shielding local industries from global price swings. This makes domestic goods more competitive, and shoppers see more "Made in Canada" labels on the shelves. The same policy is creating two realities for shoppers just miles apart. One side faces rising costs, the other finds new opportunities. For Americans, it's higher bills, anxiety, and fewer choices. For Canadians, it's stability, more local products, and a sense of security at the store. The front line of the trade war isn't in government offices, it's right at the checkout counter where every shopper feels the impact. Cross-border shopping used to mean Canadians heading south for deals. Now tariffs are flipping the script. Americans may soon flock north for better prices. A German dishwasher with a 30% US tariff could be much cheaper in Canada, just a short drive away. This could turn Canadian border towns into retail hotspots, boosting local economies. The shift is most relevant for millions living near the border, but the impact could be profound. Canadian retailers may face new challenges, stock shortages, busier stores, but it's a welcome problem. The US trade wall is opening a profitable door for Canada. The consumer relationship between the two countries is fundamentally changing. The new era, Americans chasing bargains in Canada. After all the numbers and headlines, here's the bottom line. Tariffs hit your wallet and your country's economic stability. For Americans, these July 2025 tariffs are a direct tax on daily life. Coffee, groceries, cars, clothes, all cost more. Retailers are in chaos, forced to pass costs to consumers and abandon long-term planning. The goal is to protect industry, but the immediate effect is pain for families and businesses. For Canada, the story is different. Tariffs are boosting local retail and attracting American shoppers. The irony? US protectionism is fueling Canadian growth. This is a lesson in global interconnectedness. One country's policy sends ripples worldwide. For most people, this isn't just politics. It's the reality at the checkout. Americans face higher bills and uncertainty. Canadians see new opportunities. In a trade war, the real battle is fought at the register.